Have you ever done something in public thinking no one was watching, only to realize later there were cameras all around? Imagine the most shocking, bizarre, and downright outrageous moments caught on tape. Moments people wish they could take back. In this video, we're diving deep into the wildest situations where people forgot they were being recorded in public places. From jaw-dropping accidents to unthinkable acts of carelessness, these unforgettable clips will leave you speechless. Get ready, because what you're about to see proves that the eyes of the world are always watching. Broad daylight bullets, 2 hits over $500,000 in exotic cars. You see Mr. Banks's arm out the window, firing several shots at the victim. What happens when people think that they are not being watched? Well, this video answers exactly that, as CCTV cameras capture moments that seem straight from a Hollywood script. These incidents involve people using firearms in public places, whilst forgetting that their every move is being recorded. These are people who forgot that there were cameras in public places. Cavan Camilla Hicks' surveillance video, obtained by NBC6, shows the moment a rapper allegedly shoots and kills her manager in front of the Windwood Walls back in October. As tensions rise in the world of music, conflicts can sometimes escalate to unimaginable levels. In the case of Cavani, a rising Florida rapper, her relationship with her manager took a deadly turn. It all began with a heated argument that quickly spiraled out of control on that fateful day in the vibrant Windwood neighborhood of Miami. Hicks found herself engaged in a heated exchange with her manager. The exact cause of the argument remains unknown, but witnesses reported that emotions were running high. The air crackled with tension as their voices grew louder, drawing the attention of those nearby. As the argument escalated, it became clear that words alone would not be enough to settle the dispute. The situation quickly turned physical, with both Hicks and her manager engaging in a violent altercation. The shocking scene unfolded in full view of the security cameras that captured every moment, ensuring that there would be no escape from the truth. The struggle between Hicks and her manager was intense, with punches thrown and bodies colliding. It was a battle fueled by anger and frustration, as two individuals who were once on the same team now found themselves locked in a dangerous confrontation. The onlookers watched in disbelief as the situation spiraled further out of control. But the violence did not stop there. As the altercation continued, another man joined in, further complicating the already chaotic scene. The addition of this third party only served to escalate the violence, pushing the situation to the brink of disaster. In the midst of the chaos, Hicks and her manager fought with all their might, each driven by their own motivations and emotions. The struggle was fierce, with no clear end in sight. It was a battle that would leave a lasting impact on everyone involved. In the midst of the heated altercation between Hicks and her manager, a chilling turn of events unfolded that would forever change the course of their lives. As the physical struggle reached its peak, Hicks made a shocking decision that would have devastating consequences. As the rapper was walking away, CCTV footage showed that she reached into her bag and retrieved a handgun. The sight of the weapon sent shockwaves through the crowd as onlookers realized the gravity of the situation. The security cameras captured the chilling moment as Hicks's hand closed around the cold metal, a symbol of the danger that now loomed over them all. With the weapon firmly in her grasp, Hicks unleashed a barrage of gunfire, relentlessly pursuing her manager as he desperately sought cover. The shots echoed through the streets, shattering the peace and leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The manager, already weakened from the physical altercation, was unable to evade the hail of bullets. Each shot found its mark, inflicting multiple wounds and leaving him gravely injured. The scene was one of utter chaos and terror as the reality of the situation sank in for everyone present. As the manager's body crumpled to the ground, the full weight of the tragedy became apparent. The once promising future of the music industry was now marred by violence and bloodshed. The security footage captured the harrowing sight of a life cut short, a stark reminder of the fragility of human existence. But the shocking events did not end there. As the chaos unfolded, the second man involved in the altercation made a chilling decision of his own. Seizing the opportunity, he got into a car and deliberately rammed into Hicks, causing her to be struck with brutal force. The impact sent her sprawling, adding another layer of horror to an already nightmarish scene. With the manager lying wounded on the ground and Hicks injured from the collision, the streets of Windward became a haunting tableau of violence and despair. Emergency services were called to the scene, desperately trying to save the lives of those involved. However, despite their best efforts, the manager's injuries proved fatal, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. Hicks, once a rising star, now finds herself at the center of a legal storm following the tragic incident captured on CCTV. Hicks claims self-defense, asserting that she feared for her life during the altercation. This claim forms the foundation of her defense as she faces charges of second-degree murder. The legal proceedings that have ensued have gripped the nation, with the world watching as the truth is sought amidst the chaos. While the security footage provides a chilling account of the events, it also raises questions about the complexities of the situation. Was Hicks truly acting in self-defense, or did her actions go beyond what was necessary to protect herself? These are the questions that the court will grapple with as they seek justice for all parties involved. As the case progresses, Hicks's attorney argues vehemently that this incident is a clear-cut case of self-defense. They emphasize the fear and perceived threat that Hicks experienced during the altercation, painting a picture of a vulnerable artist who found herself in a life-or-death situation. It is a narrative that has garnered support from some, who believe that Hicks's actions were justified given the circumstances. In a show of solidarity, a GoFundMe page was set up in support of Hicks, claiming that she had been assaulted multiple times by the two men involved in the altercation. This page aims to rally financial assistance for Hicks's legal defense, highlighting the belief that she was a victim herself. As the legal battle unfolds, the world waits with bated breath for the final verdict. The shocking events captured on CCTV will undoubtedly play a crucial role in determining the outcome of the case. Chef G, a prominent drill rapper, and more than 30 other gang members have been charged after a major takedown in Brooklyn. On May 16, 2022, rapper Chef G, real name Michael Williams, was arrested as part of a 32-person, 140-count gang indictment alleging murder, attempted murder, gun possession, and other crimes. He was the leader of the 8 Trey Crips, who partnered with the 9 Ways gang and caused havoc in New York. During the conspiracy period covered in the indictments, there were 27 incidents of violence and criminal activity, including 12 shootings with 13 victims, including 1 fatality. Sadly, 3 shooting victims were innocent bystanders. Approximately 37 different firearms were used or possessed by the defendants, and 19 firearms were recovered during the course of the investigation. As is common with gangs, especially in hip-hop, Chef G's gang was involved in drive-by shootings that left people dead and others injured. Some of their crimes were caught on CCTV cameras. On October 21, 2020, a few members of the gang headed to their rivals' territory. They hatched a well-thought-out plan on how to attack their rivals and hurt them where it hurt most. What they did not know was that all their actions that night would be captured on CCTV. The group pulled up near Hawthorne Street in Brand Avenue, an area where Folk Nation frequently hung out. Surveillance footage from that night, obtained by the NYPD, showed a white sedan back up onto the sidewalks moments before the shooting started. After it came to a halt, 3 guns stuck out of the car, 2 from the side of the car and 1 from the sunroof. After unleashing a barrage of bullets toward their victim's direction, they sped off. Another camera on a different street revealed that this was a carefully orchestrated plan. Another car was used to help the shooters make a quick getaway. From this CCTV footage, a white Jeep is seen blocking off traffic as it waits for the sedan. As soon as the sedan carrying the shooter turns at the intersection, the Jeep follows it and both cars speed off into the night. The next morning, news spread that one member of the Folk Nation had been shot and killed. Billy had shot and killed Theodore Sr., alias Sniper Blixky, an alleged member of the folk nation Gangster Disciples, an ally of Chef G's rival, 22 Gs. It is alleged that Kandre Diatu was the one captured on surveillance video emerging from the sunroof of the white sedan. Sniper Blixky was not the only one shot that day. 3 other folk nation members and 2 innocent bystanders were also shot. However, their injuries were not fatal. 2 days after the homicide, it is alleged that Chef G hosted a lavish dinner with his fellow gang members, including Sleepy Hollow, at a Manhattan steakhouse to celebrate the death of Theodore Sr. This became a trend within the gang, as Chef G continued offering money and giving expensive jewelry to those who committed acts of violence. One could understand why some of the members in the gang risked their lives for the gang. These were people who had grown up in the projects, and now Chef G was buying them expensive jewelry and even cars. In this clip here, we can see the rapper buying his crew luxury cars and handing out expensive jewelry. This was not the only time that his gang was caught on camera shooting at people. The next incident happened in broad daylight, and it all started on April 5, 2021, when it is alleged that members of a rival gang shot at Chef G's secret hideout mansion in Short Hills. It was clear that someone had sold them out, and they were determined to get him. Chef G and the gang did not hesitate to retaliate, as the rapper confirmed that he would be getting a rental the next day to carry out the hit. Throughout the night, the gang continued to discuss their mission. They soon found out that a former member of their gang, called Champ, had given out their location. In a sudden twist of events the next day, Chef G revealed that he would join them on the revenge mission, and his bravado would soon put him in hot water. As if taking part in the hit was not dangerous enough, the rapper made yet another blunder that day. He rented out a black Jeep Trackhawk, which was registered in his name. This was the car that was used in the attack. With New York full of CCTV cameras and the gang carrying out their hit during the day, it did not take long for cops to locate the vehicle and trace it back to Chef G. The drill rapper picked up OLV Martinez, Tony Darden, and Kenrick Ostry at around 4 p.m. and drove around Brooklyn. The group hit the jackpot as they saw Champ on Church Avenue. Chef G parked the vehicle nearby as the 3 others exited the vehicle. The 3 walked down the street and opened fire at their target. They then ran back to the car, which sped off. Champ was lucky, as he escaped the ordeal without any gunshot wounds. However, 2 innocent bystanders were not so lucky, as they were shot. Fortunately, they both survived. The first victim was a 43-year-old woman who can be seen in this video walking with an elderly person, while the second victim was a 53-year-old man who can be seen painfully holding his arm. Security cameras all over the city captured the vehicle as it raced to a secluded place where the gang dumped it. The rapper crossed into the borough of Manhattan and parked the car at 481 Washington Street. They all scattered as the rapper called an Uber to go back to New Jersey. He would later text OLV Martinez and tell him to wipe the car of anything that would incriminate them. Chef seemed to forget that the car was registered under his name and that the cops could easily trace it back to him. Even more shocking is the fact that they forgot to wipe off the car before they abandoned it, and they put one of their gang members in harm's way by telling them to go back to the getaway car. Well, Chef G is now behind bars for all his heinous crimes, which we are lucky were caught on camera for the world to see. King Von Val Von Bennett, alias King Von, was involved in multiple shootings, 2 of which were caught on camera. In 2019, King Von, Lil Durk, and Bezo were arrested in connection to a shooting. It turns out that the rappers had robbed Alexander Weatherspoon of a gold chain and $30,000 before shooting him. Apart from that, they also stole the victim's vehicle. The 2 rappers were charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault, and street gang activities, among other charges. All the evidence seemed to point to Lil Durk, from CCTV footage of him firing the weapon to witnesses on the scene saying they saw him with a weapon. Jeffrey Churchill, a detective from the Atlanta Police Department, took to the stand, where he revealed that he had spoken with a witness who was with the 2 rappers the night of the shooting. According to the female witness, a fight broke out in a car that was in front of them. She then saw Dirk pull out a firearm, which forced her to run around the building, where she heard shots fired. She later saw the victim in a pool of blood, but she never saw who fired the shots. The most damning evidence against Lil Durk was CCTV footage that showed Dirk's hand sticking out of the SUV and firing his weapon at Weatherspoon. You could see Mr. Banks's arm out of the window, firing several shots at the victim. However, Dirk's defense team challenged the video evidence. According to the rapper's lawyer, the CCTV footage did not show the rapper pulling the trigger. Apart from that, the defense team argued that Weatherspoon had a gun and their clients were defending themselves. According to the authorities, the rappers may have shot the victim because of gang affiliation. While Von and Dirk were part of the infamous Black Disciples gang, Weatherspoon was affiliated with the Vice Lords. A Chicago police captain even flew in for the hearing, telling the court that both were documented members of the notorious Black Disciples. Luckily, the case was later dropped, and the rapper was cleared of all charges. At this time, Von had been killed in a tragic shooting outside a club in Atlanta. It turns out that it may have been Von who shot Alexander Weatherspoon that morning. A statement from the DA's office revealed that Von would have been charged if he was still alive. While Dirk's name was cleared by the courts, the streets did not seem eager to accept this fact. Many thought that he had either snitched on Von or passed the blame on his late friend, since Von was not here to defend himself. Dirk was let off the hook, but with no paperwork, it is impossible to know exactly whether Dirk passed the blame or snitched on Von. The next shooting saw King Von ultimately lose his life. On November 6, 2020, King Von had just left Opium nightclub after successfully releasing his first album, Welcome to O Block. His entourage, which consisted of 3 armed security guards and close to 15 of his guys from O Block, were ready to go back to their Airbnbs and call it a night. However, there was one problem. King Von was nowhere to be seen. Just then, King Von's manager, Jameson Francois, alias 100K Track, got a phone call from Von's DJ, who was concerned that they were alone. It turned out that Von had gone to a different club, the Monaco Hookah Lounge, without security. What was the point of going to Opium nightclub with an entourage of about 25 vehicles, only for Von to go to another club without them? And to make matters worse, he failed to notify his manager or security about his whereabouts. It just didn't make sense. It was unlike Von to make such security blunders. Track and the rest of Von's entourage got into their vehicles and headed to the new spot. When the rest of the guys got to Von's location, the story got even weirder. Seeing that Von had a head start, everyone thought he was already in the club. To their surprise, Von had been in the car for almost 30 minutes. Track then ordered his security to conduct routine security checks to ensure that it was safe for them to go inside. They checked the club as well as the back and assured Track that everything was fine. Just as Von was about to exit his vehicle and head to the club, one of his homeboys came up to the driver's side and notified him that he had just seen fellow rapper Quando Rondo in the parking lot. In a split second, Von was out of the car and heading toward Quando's direction. Quando was now on his way to the club. Von, with a few members of his crew behind him, proceeded to attack Quando, knocking him to the ground. Von's guys joined in and started raining blows on Quando as he tried in vain to get away from his attackers. In a split second, one of Quando's homeboys, who was later identified as Lil Tim, appeared from behind their vehicle with a gun in hand and started letting off shots. As everyone ran away, Von was hit in his torso. According to Von's manager, who was also shot in the process, everyone ran away because Lil Tim was not the only shooter that night. Lurking in the cover of darkness were 2 off-duty cops who started shooting towards the crowd once Lil Tim opened fire. Amidst the confusion, 2 of Von's guys ran toward the cops' direction and were also shot dead. Lil Tim was also shot by the cops, who saw him as a threat. After the dust settled, Von's guys pulled up next to him and loaded him into the vehicle before speeding to the nearest hospital. Lil Tim limped into their vehicle with Quando Rondo and drove to the hospital as well. As fate would have it, the 2 groups ended up in the same hospital. Luckily, there was no more violence. Sadly, Von passed away during surgery. When day broke, the authorities put out a statement saying that during the shooting incident, 6 men were shot during the group altercation and officer encounter. Bennett and 2 men died as a result of their injuries, and 3 were injured and are being treated at a hospital. Although Lil Tim was arrested and charged with murder, the charges were dropped as it was later determined that he acted in self-defense. 2 shy broad daylight, bullets, and 2 hit victims. Over $500,000 in an exotic car, and it involves a recording artist, Pusciesti. Pusciesti, whose real name is Lontrell Williams, found himself facing charges related to an alleged robbery and shooting outside a hotel in Miami-Dade County, Florida. Alongside 2 other men, he was indicted by the FBI on charges, including discharging a firearm during a violent crime, conspiracy, and robbery under a law regulating commerce. This incident unfolded when Williams and his associates ventured to the Landon Hotel, seeking to purchase sneakers and marijuana. However, what transpired next would shock the world and leave a lasting impact on the lives of those involved. It all began on a fateful day in Miami-Dade County, Florida. Pusciesti found himself at the center of a storm of controversy. Williams, along with 2 other men, was indicted by the FBI on charges related to an alleged robbery and shooting outside a hotel. The charges included discharging a firearm during a violent crime, conspiracy, and robbery under a law regulating commerce. The incident unfolded when Williams and his associates decided to visit the Landon Hotel, not knowing that their actions would have far-reaching consequences. Their initial intention was to purchase sneakers and marijuana, but little did they know that this seemingly ordinary transaction would take a dark turn. Williams arrived at the hotel in a rented McLaren, a symbol of his success and status in the music industry. However, his intentions extended beyond just buying sneakers and marijuana. He also wanted to negotiate the rental of the luxurious car. It was a day that would change the lives of everyone involved. As Williams and his associates engaged in the transaction, tensions began to rise. What started as a seemingly innocent exchange quickly escalated into a violent confrontation. In a shocking turn of events, Williams and another man pulled out their firearms and opened fire, injuring 2 individuals. Surveillance footage captured the horrifying incident, leaving no room for doubt about the identities of the culprits. The victims, who were struck in the hip and buttocks, bravely identified Pusciesti as one of the assailants. The world watched in disbelief as the rapper's name became synonymous with violence and criminal activity. But the story doesn't end there. As Williams and his associates hastily left the scene, a Louis Vuitton bag filled with more than $40,000 in cash fell out of the McLaren. It was a shocking revelation that would later play a crucial role in the investigation. Prior to the robbery, Williams had been flaunting his wealth and firearms on his Instagram account. Images of guns and stacks of $100 bills were posted for the world to see. Little did he know that his social media activity would come back to haunt him. Law enforcement wasted no time connecting the dots. They used Williams's social media posts as evidence, linking the bills found in the abandoned bag to the ones he had flaunted online. It was a damning trail of evidence that would be used against him in court. This wasn't the first time Williams had faced legal trouble. He had previously been charged and released on bond for the same incident. But fate had other plans for him. In June, he was detained once again, this time for allegedly shooting a strip club security guard. The rapper's life had taken a dark and dangerous turn. As news of the shooting spread like wildfire, the music industry and fans alike were left in a state of shock. Pusciesti, once celebrated for his talent and rising success, now found himself at the center of a storm of controversy and legal battles. The aftermath of the incident would forever change the trajectory of his career. The shooting incident not only tarnished Pusciesti's reputation, but also had a profound impact on the victims and their families. The physical and emotional scars left behind would serve as a constant reminder of that fateful day. In the wake of the incident, law enforcement agencies spared no effort in their pursuit of justice. The FBI, armed with the surveillance footage and the victim's identification, worked tirelessly to build a case against Pusciesti and his associates. The charges they faced were serious and carried severe consequences. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the world watched with bated breath. Pusciesti, once a rising star in the music industry, now found himself in a courtroom facing the possibility of a lengthy prison sentence. The outcome of this trial would not only determine his fate, but also send a powerful message about the consequences of violence and criminal behavior. The defense team, aware of the gravity of the charges, fought tooth and nail to protect their client. They argued that there were mitigating circumstances and that Pusciesti's actions were not a true reflection of his character. However, the evidence against him seemed overwhelming. The prosecution, armed with the surveillance footage and the victims' testimonies, painted a vivid picture of the events that unfolded outside the Landon Hotel. They argued that Pusciesti's actions were premeditated and fueled by greed and a desire for power. The courtroom became a battleground of legal strategies and emotional testimonies. In a sudden twist, the rapper pleaded guilty to a single charge of conspiring to possess firearms in furtherance of crimes of violence and drug trafficking, which carried a maximum of 8 years and 1 month in prison. The judge then sentenced rapper Pusciesti to 5 years and 3 months behind bars for his role in the shooting outside of a Florida hotel. Thank you for staying until the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this edition. Give us a like if you liked the video, and remember to subscribe to The Daily Astonishing for more amazing videos.